Good morning, lovely people. How are you all today? I hope you're well. I certainly am. It's an exciting day today. Come on to that in a second. Just a heads up. It's driving me insane in the membrane. Building work. Constant blimming building work. I was mentioning it the other day. I'm mentioning it now because I think it's just going to be going on all day, and I don't think there's going to be breaks in it for filming or anything like that. So, I was mentioning that one of my neighbours, all through lockdown, was having a loft conversion done. Finally, it got finished. I saw them taking the scaffolding down the other day, and I thought, hurrah, a bit of peace and quiet. And actually, maybe some of the kids, I know some years have gone back to school, so I was hoping that further along, there's a really brattish bunch of kids, frankly, that is spoiled. And they've done nothing but whine and cry all summer. And look, I do have empathy and compassion. I know it's been hard for so many folk with having their kids at home all the time and homeschooling. But honestly, their behaviour's just been bad all summer. Anyway, that all seems to have quietened down too. So I was thinking, yay, finally, some peace and quiet. Next door to that loft conversion, another loft conversion has started. They're at it this morning, they're quite loud. Plus, then a house a few ways down that way, I've just seen all just walking past, the scaffolding truck has arrived and their scaffolding's going up. And my downstairs neighbour, who I never hear a peep from, she never hears a peep from me. I put soundproofing between my sort of floor and the planks I laid on top. She's having renovations done, which are going on for 3 weeks. So this morning, I was actually up really early today. I was up at 6 o'clock, unheard of for me, just to get on with some sort of admin type work before coming to the garden. And bang on 8 o'clock, bang, wallop, thump, crash, bang from downstairs. Is it just me, or is building work and the sound of it insane making? Anyway, back to the happy, exciting day. It's potato harvesting day. Well, the very first lot, at any rate. Firstly I should say I'm about 2 days too early, but I can't wait any longer. One of the reasons I'm so excited is because literally since about the end of March, I haven't been eating fresh food. So up until the end of March or so, I still had, pardon me, various brassicas, excuse me, namely the Cavolo kale and the purple sprouting broccoli. Hang on, I've got a real tickle suddenly. I think I just breathed in a great big lump of the rusty folk. Can you see him? So I have, various brassicas till about the end of March. And of course, as we go into April, they start to blow, form the flowers, and the flowers open. And I leave that for the bees. That's great. Till the end of March, I usually have a few carrots, a few parsnips left. I'm not going to have any carrots this year. But yeah, literally by the end of March, that's it with fresh stuff out of the garden. And then I'm on to pretty much solely my stored food, which mainly consists of tomatoes, beans and squash. All three of which I love, but after months and months and months of trying to do them in different combinations or what have you, it does get a bit boring. And I really miss green, especially green leaves. So in the last couple of weeks, I have had the odd bit of salad leaf, the lettuces, spinach, a couple of the really young chard leaves I've had. But otherwise, it's been, tomatoes, squash and beans. So, to get my first potatoes out, I can't wait. And I know exactly how I'm going to cook them for my supper tonight. I'm going to have them with the broad beans I harvested It's about a month ago now, isn't it? Oh no, it's probably about 6 weeks ago. Yeah, I harvested the broad beans. I ate loads of them fresh, lovely, with tomatoes, squash and other beans, but froze a load. So I'll have my potatoes, broad beans. I'll hoik out a red onion today. They're really tiny still, that's okay. Possibly 1 or 2 of the little leeks that I'm growing, almost like spring onions. Handful more of salad leaves, and I'm basically going to make myself a warm salad of potatoes, broad beans and red onions. Dollop of mayo. Yum, 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 can't wait. Right, so we're going to get out there and dig now, but just very quickly a word on harvesting and storing potatoes, which I'll come back to again in the autumn. Today I'm only going to be looking at my new potatoes, my early potatoes, my salad potatoes, all being the same thing. Generally with your new potatoes, your first earlies, they want about 90 days. Now, I'll have this lot out today, I'll eat them fresh over the next week or so, and then I'll just keep harvesting a plant or 2 plants every week and having them fresh. I don't really have them or use them for storing. That's what I grow the main crop for, the Cara. So the new potatoes I'm going to have out today have got green tops still. My main crops won't come out until... Oh, it's rusty. I may have the odd 1 or 2 out here and there to eat fresh, but the majority of them that I have out for storing, I'll leave right into October, when I'll let all the foliage die back. That sends a signal to the spud to toughen up its skin, which is its wrapper, its storage wrapper for the whole winter. So they'll be much, much later in the year. Like I said, if I do want to dig out main crop ones now, I could. I just wouldn't store them. I'd have them and use them within the next couple of weeks. They probably wouldn't last a couple of weeks. I'm not a massive eater of potatoes. So it's like I've always said, you know, if my potato crop failed completely, I wouldn't lose any sleep over it. I'd be disappointed, of course, but I wouldn't lose any sleep over it. Unlike, say, if my tomatoes, beans or squash harvest failed, there would be a lot of sleep lost over those, because they really are the bulk of what sustains me for a whole year. Anyway, without further ado, stop digressing, Vivi. Let's get in the garden and start digging. I'm also going to just say in here, I'm so paranoid about the noise outside. You know, I don't have any control over it, of course I don't. So I'll just say very quickly, the ones I'm going to harvest from the ground, I'm going to have to be quite careful as I dig them up, probably a bit less than I normally would be, because they're right up against a couple of my climbing beans. I think when I was planting them back in, it was April the 18th. When I planted them on that day, I wasn't thinking ahead. I didn't leave quite enough space. So hopefully I can get them out without disturbing those bean roots too much. Come on. We'll try our best to ignore. Okay, you can see just how close I am to these beans, but let's have a go anyway. When I do the second one, I'll bring you in a bit closer. So you can see, what I am interested to note is the sort of the moisture content of the soil down there, because we have been getting a lot of this sort of drizzly weather, very light showers. Light showers, shut up! But whether it's done much down there, I don't know. Let's find out. Ooh, happy days. First view. Oh, the smell. The smell of The smell of warm earth and spuds. Oh, heavenly. Oh, Blair. Is that it from that plant? Bone dry. Bone dry down there. Morning, poppykins. Yeah, I think that's that one. Now, let me bring you all in a bit. Come closer, my friends. No, not you, Poppy. I was talking to the friends. Hey, sweet princess. Okay, so that's what came from the first plant. Gorgeous. This variety is Anya. Anya. Oh my god, I'm going to have to do subtitles the whole way. It's related to, it's a cross between, I think it's Nicola and Pink Fir, or Charlotte and Pink Fir. Beautiful, they're a beautiful, beautiful, waxy, perfect spud for salads. Perfect at this time of year. So let's have a look at what's below this one. We can do it without. Yeah, I did plant a bit closely, didn't I, for those beans? I think partly what happened, it's noise, partly what happened was when I was planting these, I was actually at that stage giving up having bean arches. I thought I was going to do them in the beds. Arr, treasure. Arr. Oh, I think my arring just frightened Poppy. Is that it? Gosh, that was only a little one. The thing is, by this stage, I don't think I'm going to get any more spuds on the plants. It's just a case of them fattening up. Oh! No, I think that's it. This bed will become... What's going in here? This bed will become my purple sprouting broccoli bed. Oh, bit of pole. So what I will do is, once I've had them all out, I'll tickle a load of compost in, get the purple sprouting broccoli planted, and then a load more compost on the top as mulch. But you can see, can you get a sense of how dry it is from there? Yeah, that's quite surprising. Right, okay, let's now do the really fun bit. Okay, so from those two plants, well, that's it. Now, part of that might be the closeness to the beans and the path, I'm not sure. I'm going to leave these in here for now, because next I'm going to do two plants that were in this grow bag just next to me. I don't know how big the grow bag is in terms of literage, but it's about what's a girl to do? It's about 14 inches deep by about 16, maybe 18 inches wide. If I could be bothered, I would work out the cubic volume for you, but I can't. So I think the easiest thing to do with these, I'm just going to tip the whole bag out into the wheelbarrow, and then the spent compost, where I just dug the two from the garden, I can put that spent compost over there. Actually, what I might do is I'll put it in the trench between the two rows of new potatoes, so that as I'm digging the rest of the new potatoes out of the bed, that soil and compost will just get incorporated. it'll just add a little bit of organic matter bulk to my soil, which will hopefully give the purple sprouting broccoli a better start. Right, let's set up. Wonder where to do where I've got a space. It's that time of year where I've got no space anywhere to show you anything. I think we'll just have to do it here, and we'll ignore the two sets of boys being really, really noisy. And I have checked, it is all boys. Wouldn't it be great to see a load of girls up there on the roof doing their scaff stuff as well? You know, in another life, I would have quite liked to have been a carpenter. I don't know about doing roofs because I'm scared of heights, but yeah, rather like my cousin and his beautiful green oak restoration barn building business. Distracted. Right, let's do these spuds. Wriggle, wriggle. Okay, this is not as easy as I thought it was going to be. Okay. Oh yeah, I forgot I put the I put community compost in the bottom, didn't I? Okay. Well, that's dry too. Let's get you back up the other way. Oh, that's, I know. Just prop the riddle here to pop them in for now. Oh, note to self, when doing a job like this, oh, fiddlesticks. It's a discombobulated day. Yeah, when doing a job like this, maybe sit rather than lean over, because that's not very, they're not a very comfortable lean. Lump of wood. Well, on first sight, they all look considerably smaller than the ones that grew in the ground. Yeah, a goodly bit smaller. Obviously usable, no complaints there. Let's just get rid of that foliage a second. Oh, these look a bit bigger. So it's look at rubbish. That's obviously from the communal compost. So exactly the same variety. This is Anya again. Anya. Yeah, tiddly. And what's interesting, I'm thinking about water and watering. These in the bag, I was more careful to water, just because I was worried about it drying out more than, say, the ground. So I would say that these have actually had more water than the in-ground potatoes, but have actually come up quite a bit smaller. Okay, well I think I just need to have a jolly good rummage. Oh! Invariably, I will miss a few, and they'll end up as little volunteers for next year. Oh, that's a nice one. Now, I would say, obviously I haven't looked at the final result yet, but although this, just tipping the bag out, oh, that's the seed potato, is easier for the harvest, I tell you what, it's not as much fun as digging for buried treasure. And like I said, that is about £5 worth of compost ended up going in there. Is it worth it? Okay, let me finish sifting through and then I'll show you show you the final result. Right then, quick reprieve in the noise. Let me show you the two harvests side by side. So this, 2 plants in the ground, 2 plants in a grow bag. I haven't weighed them, I don't have scales. I might, I'll do that when I get home. I'll keep them separate for now and weigh them when I get at home. So obviously less from the ground, but that was those 2 right on the end of the row. I don't know if that impeded them. These 2 obviously had no impedance from any other plants, they could get on with it. What I have noted is that the ones grown in the ground, especially this one, they're considerably more irregular in shape. So I'm going to assume that's where they've come up against a bit of either compact soil or stones, whereas the ones from the grow bags, they're much less. I mean, it's a knobbly type of potato anyway. They are a knobbly potato, as you can see, but they just seem a bit more uniform from the grow bags as opposed to from the ground. Also, from the grow bags, some of them are quite small. Now, I don't know whether that was a watering issue, although I did really try to keep on top of it, or whether it's just space, because there are so many of them trying to grow. Perhaps they would have plumped up if I'd left them, but having said that, maybe not, because some of them did plump up. Anyway, that is a lovely little haul. That will do me, oh gosh, there's probably 6 meals in that for me, obviously combined with other things, but yeah, I reckon about 6 meals. Yum, yum, yum. I've come in the shed to wrap up and close the door because it's just so noisy out there. Isn't it noisy, little Miss Poppy? We don't like it, do we? So my conclusions from looking at those 2 lots side by side. Oh, lovely poppy tail. It's suddenly gone really black skies as well, which is why we're struggling a little bit for the light. Shall we just hide in here, poppykins? Yeah, drawing conclusions. Look, I've always said, it's been a bit of a mantra of mine, that you do not need money to be productive in growing your own veg. And I still stand by that. Obviously, the difference for me this year, I have spent money this year. I've spent more than I've probably spent more this year by getting that compost, for example, than I've spent in the previous 5 years all added together. But it's just because of my knee situation. So if you don't have bad knees, if you're fully able-bodied, there's no reason why you shouldn't grow everything in the ground and do it for pretty much free. You know, if you've got a garden that's all concrete slabs, or perhaps you live in rented accommodation and you're not allowed to do anything with the garden, then I think container growing is a great way around that. Poppy thinks so too. For me, I think it's not been worth it. I've loved the experiment. I've loved having that opportunity to experiment. So thank you. That big bag I was using, that was originally from Bernadette last year. Thank you. And thank you to those of you who helped me to get some compost this year. But like I said, that was about I was remembering that I had put some communal compost in the bottom. The communal compost is gone. It was gone in seconds. So I've added the equivalent of one of those bags I bought, which was 27.5 litres. Odd amount, but it was one of those like, 30% extra free or something. Oh, she's now sitting down on my leg. And each bag was £5. So I've spent £5 to get that handful of potatoes. Now, I've got no idea. How much do organic new potatoes cost in the shops? I don't know. But I'm willing to hazard a guess that they probably cost less than £5 for that much. So, yeah. it's, look, everybody gardens for different reasons, and this is not me casting any sort of judgment. It's just talking about what works for me and why I do things the way I do. The whole point of growing in the ground and trying to garden with for no money is that, I don't know if you saw at the end of last year, I did a quick tot up. I hadn't actually harvested everything at that stage. I think it was towards the end of November. I did a tot up of what my harvests would have cost me to buy in the shops, and it was around £1,600. £1,600, that's a huge amount of money. So one of the reasons I haven't in the past done container gardening and done the whole no dig where you've got to buy in loads of compost, well, I would have to because there's no access to any here, is for me, I'm trying to get food for free, or as near as darn it free. So if I was suddenly starting to grow all my potatoes in grow bags like that, I would need, I'm thinking about how many I grow. I would need about 16 to 20 of the grow bags. How much are they each? They're probably a £5 each. £5 worth of compost. Suddenly it's like I'm spending a couple of £100 to grow a handful of potatoes. Not worth it. But yes, like I said, it was really fun to experiment. I think the ones that I have got out are looking gorgeous and I can't wait to scoff them. It's always wonderful to try something new. I love trying new things in the garden, and you know, in some ways as the years have rolled on, there are less opportunities to try new things because the garden is kind of established. Over the years I've tried all sorts of different, you know, varieties of things and some new veggies. But again, over the years, when I've tried something new, I've liked it and I've kept it. So, you know, the chickpeas, great example. I think I first tried those 4 or 5 years ago. Yeah, so there are less opportunities to do new things. So if an opportunity comes along, I am going to grab it with both horns. Is that right? And have fun with it. But I'm always going to be really practical when it comes to assessing the outcome and thinking, is this something I want to do again next year? Was this worth it for me in terms of being someone who is trying so hard to be self-sustaining with my food? I don't want to spend money to produce my food. I mean, I'll spend where necessary, for instance, with seeds, but that's about it for me. So, yes, that's a very long-winded way of concluding, isn't it? But my conclusion is, it's a lovely harvest, but it's not worth growing potatoes in containers for me. Too expensive. But I know loads of you are, and, you know, all power to your elbow. I know, for instance, Paul is growing potatoes in containers this year. And when I was over at the garden, I'd been meaning to ask him for ages. When I was in his garden, I suddenly remembered to ask, to say, why are you growing in containers? You've got a beautiful garden. And it was one of those pure necessity things, which I completely get, that at the time when the potatoes needed to be planted, he'd only just got that new plot and didn't have any beds made and ready to take potatoes. So it's another one of those examples, isn't it, of, like I say, if you've got a garden that's all concrete slabs, or it's not your garden, or you literally just been allocated an allotment, as I know some of you are hoping to be allocated next year. If you've literally just got hold of your allotment and there's no ground prepared at all, yeah, it makes total sense to start things off in containers so you at least get something that year. And then all the compost you've put in the containers, brilliant. Once you've got some beds ready, get it incorporated, because even though the sort of the nutritional value of the compost will have been depleted, you've got that lovely bulk to add to your soil. Yay! Right. I've got loads more to do today. Hopefully I'll show you some of it. But for now, that's a cheerio from me and Poppy. You're going to sleep there now, Missy? I think that's it. I think she's set in for the day. So we'll say cheerio to you all. Please take care, stay well, and have fun lifting your first potatoes if you haven't already. And if you have lifted your first ones, have fun lifting the next lot. Once you've lifted one plant, it's addictive, isn't it? You want to do another and another and another and another. 4 plants today is more than enough for me. So look after yourself. I will see you again really soon, I hope. But in the meantime, just be happy in the garden.